On the wedding day, my wife Liu Ruyan actually sent me to prison. She even bribed me and sentenced me to 8 years in prison without any evidence. However, all this was just because of his first love. In just a few words, on the wedding day, my wife's first love suddenly broke into the wedding scene and accused me of raping her 7-year-old sister. In front of everyone, she described my crime in detail, how I tricked his sister out of the house, took her out of the city, and committed violence in an abandoned factory. I tried my best to defend myself, but my wife not only didn't believe it, but also asked someone to break my right leg. When Qian saw you, she was like a sheep seeing a wolf, and you said he was pretending. Just because I dated Zefeng in college, I was resentful and actually attacked his own sister. Lin, you disappointed me so much, he sent me to prison with his own hands. During my sentence, I suffered humiliation and torture until I was released from prison 8 years later. I was about to be released from prison, and I was being beaten by my cellmates. Amid the heart-wrenching screams, a death row prisoner grabbed my hair with a playful smile and patted my face. Lin, we have taken good care of you every day for the past 8 years. Don't forget us after you are released from prison. I said nothing because I knew that if I dared to say something to him, I would only be beaten more. Seeing that I didn't react, he deliberately stepped on my injured right leg. You are leaving soon. I'm really reluctant to let you go. For the sake of our relationship for so many years, I will tell you. We are entrusted by someone to give you an unforgettable experience of serving your sentence. I trembled all over, and the face of a villain who succeeded came into my mind. I remember that on the day of imprisonment, my wife's lover personally saw me off. Lina, you must reform yourself after you go in. Don't worry, I have already said hello and someone will take good care of you. In prison for 8 years, a full 2,923 days, I was subjected to inhuman treatment every day, and the people in charge turned a blind eye to it, let alone anyone who pitied me. Because on the first day of imprisonment, I was treated as a cunning criminal who had violated a 7-year-old girl. During the day, I was made to do the hardest and most tiring work, and at night I deliberately made noises. I never slept a peaceful night. Beating was commonplace. The wounds on my body healed and healed again, and I argued countless times that I was wronged. In return, they ridiculed and tortured me more fiercely. Everyone who came here said that they were wronged, but I didn't hurt anyone at all. That was Li Zefeng's lie. I didn't do anything to his sister. Whenever it was late at night, I would think of my wife. We were in love for 5 years before we successfully entered the palace of marriage. But the 5-year relationship was not as good as his lover's one-sided words. Lin, I know you are jealous of my relationship with Zefeng. But Qian is just a child. How could you do that? I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. I really misjudged you for so many years. Even so, I still have expectations for my wife Liu Ruyan, hoping that the truth will come out one day. I went back to the time of passionate love with her until one day I saw Liu Ruyan, the president of Liu Group, and her lover Li Zefeng on TV in the prison cafeteria, holding a century wedding that shocked the whole country. Only then did I realize that all this was my wishful thinking. I was wronged and tortured in prison, but he was holding a wedding with his lover. 5 years of passionate love, those vows that were engraved in my heart, seemed worthless in front of his lover. The next morning, I changed out of my prison uniform and walked out of the prison gate with a worn-out backpack. The dazzling sunlight shone on my face, with a sense of unreality. A red coupe just stopped in front of me, and my wife Liu Ruyan walked down from the driver's seat. After not seeing each other for 8 years, her appearance was as bright and beautiful as before, which made people fall in love with her. But seeing her cold eyes and disgusted expression, I was pulled back to reality. I didn't expect him to come to pick me up in person. I was stunned on the spot, sitting in prison and being stupid. He asked me to invite you to get in the car. I hurriedly opened the car door and wanted to sit in the seat, but he stopped me again. Just sit on the floor, don't dirty my new car. I looked at him blankly. Liu Ruyan's current appearance is completely different from the considerate and gentle image in my memory. It seems that even if I have been in prison for 8 years, he still treats me as a strong prisoner who is worse than pigs and dogs. It's not just 8 years. I remember that 1 year before we got married, his lover Li Zefeng returned to China. He began to drift away from me. Whenever he encountered something happy, he would always share it with his lover first. When we went out to play together, there was never a seat for me on the co-pilot. At first, he would explain that they were just friends, but now, even if he noticed that I was looking at the strange diamond ring on his hand, he was too lazy to explain. I nodded woodenly. I climbed into the car again with a limp. Due to the inconvenience of my legs and feet, I climbed slowly. Liu Ruyan scolded me again. Did you not eat? Climb quickly. My body stiffened and I shouted reflexively, yes. Liu Ruyan was stunned for a while, then sneered. Zefeng was right. Going to jail can make people change their minds. Look at you now. Do you look like an obedient dog? I didn't answer him. I climbed into the car with difficulty and sat obediently on the chassis of the back seat. because the movement was too large just now. The piercing pain in my legs made my body tremble involuntarily. His expression turned into disgust again, still a lame dog. I trembled and dared not respond. How could he know that I had lived worse than a dog during these years in prison? Yes, I'm sorry. He looked at my timid appearance, with a touch of emotion in his eyes, but the next moment, he picked up the backpack on the ground and threw it at me. Don't think I will forgive you if you pretend to be pitiful. If it weren't for your ridiculous jealousy, things wouldn't have developed to this point. It's all your own fault. He slammed the car door shut, and I leaned against it and sat there obediently. The window above my head was like the iron window in a prison, giving me the illusion that I hadn't been released yet. Liu Ruyan didn't take me home, but put me in a hotel. It turned out that tomorrow is Li Zifeng's sister's 15th birthday. He came to pick me up from prison because he wanted me to kowtow in front of them tomorrow and admit my mistake. Do you know how much of a shadow that incident has cast on Qianqian, and how much he has suffered over the years? Liu Ruyan said to me angrily. I said nothing on the surface, but I really wanted to ask him in my heart. Do you know how much I have suffered over the years? Of course he didn't know, because from the time he went to prison to the time he was released, he never cared about me, not even a simple greeting. I recalled the first time I met the little girl 8 years ago. Li Zifeng used the excuse of being busy with work to force him to my side. I hated Li Zifeng, but I would not vent my anger on a child. At that time I was planning the wedding and was very busy, but I still took care of him patiently for the whole day. But I never thought that the child who was still well-behaved and sensible yesterday would accuse me of indecency the next day, and conspired with his brother to send me to jail. What kind of shadow could he have? I was unwilling to explain to Liu Ruyan, but as soon as I opened my mouth, Liu Ruyan slapped me in the face. Chunlin, 8 years in jail still didn't wake you up, right? You said Qianqian was lying. She was only 7 years old at the time, but she even described the time and place of your violence and what she had done clearly. You still want to quibble. I thought you would repent after serving your sentence, but now it seems that I am too disappointed in you. The way he looked at me was as if he was looking at a pile of garbage on the roadside, and then he said in a commanding tone, "Come with me tomorrow morning or I will send you back to prison in person. If 8 years is not enough time for you to reflect, then 10 years, 20 years. After he said that, he slammed the door and left the prison. The pain of being tortured suddenly swept over my body. I sat against the wall for a long time before I recovered. I looked at the ceiling with empty eyes, trying hard not to let the tears fall. I have been in love with Liu Ruyan for 5 years, but he doesn't believe anything I say. Recalling the little things in the past with him and the vows we made together under the moonlight, it seems so sad and ridiculous at this moment. At this moment, I noticed the business card of the law firm on the bedside and called the number on it. I wanted to draft a divorce contract. My acquaintance with Liu Ruyan was a coincidence. We had just graduated from college that year and went to work in a large company. As newcomers, we were assigned to the same group. Our team leader was a divorced middle-aged man. Seeing that Liu Ruyan was pure and lovely, he began to pursue her madly within a few days. After Liu Ruyan tolerated him many times, she finally rejected him in public. The team leader held a grudge and began to do all kinds of tricks to her. Until one day, a major mistake occurred in the project our group was responsible for, causing immeasurable losses to the company. In order to retaliate, the team leader pushed all the responsibility onto Liu Ruyan, but I knew that this project had nothing to do with Liu Ruyan. Looking at this cheerful and generous girl sitting alone in a corner crying, I thought of my sister who dropped out of school to work and support me to go to college. I felt a little sorry for her, so I took the initiative to take the responsibility. The company fired me because of this, but when I went to the company to pack up and prepare to leave the next day, Liu Ruyan found me, but this time she appeared as the new chairman of the company, and forced me to stay and fired me. The project leader made me sit in his position until I was 18. Only then did we understand everything. She was the daughter of the Liu family, and this company was the property of their Liu family. He was the successor and he came here to do some grassroots research. Since then, he did not distance himself from me because of the disparity in our status, and often came to my workstation to chat with me. At first I thought he just wanted to thank me and did not care too much, but suddenly one day he came to me with a bouquet of flowers and said, "Chinlin, I like you. Would you like to date me?" I looked at him in surprise, a little at a loss, and said, "Mr. Liu, stop joking. I'm not kidding you." He took the initiative to hold my hand and swore in the moonlight that from today on, we would be a loving couple, and no matter what happened in the future we must believe that let each other. He looked at me seriously, okay? Early the next morning, I went home with the divorce agreement. The villa was the wedding room of Liu Ruyan and I. All the furniture and furnishings inside were selected by me personally. But when I arrived at the door, I couldn't get in because the password lock had been replaced long ago. After several failed attempts, I alarmed the community security. Just as they were about to force me to leave, the door opened from the inside. Li Zifeng looked at me with a little surprise and shouted to the security guard, "It's okay, you're a guest." I just felt a little funny. We haven't even divorced yet, so how could I become a guest? Liu Ruyan also came out when she heard the sound, wearing the same pajamas as Li Zifeng. She looked a little flustered when she saw me. "Chinlin, why are you here? Didn't I ask you to wait for me to pick you up?" I wanted to finish the work as soon as possible. My voice was trembling. I turned sideways and walked into the living room, only to find that the decoration of the house had changed completely. The classical style that I designed with Liu Ruyan had become modern. The furniture I carefully selected was gone. Although I had prepared myself mentally, when I saw the wedding photos of Liu Ruyan and Li Zifeng hanging in the corridor, my heart ached involuntarily. What I said in my heart was true. They really held a wedding behind my back, a wedding without me. I felt dizzy and just wanted to sign the divorce agreement quickly, and leave this place that had brought me countless joys but was now more terrifying than prison. But Li Zefeng suddenly ran up to me and said, "Brother Chan, don't. Angry Ruyan has been feeling unwell these past 2 days. I just came to take care of her. Don't stand, just sit down. Treat this as your own home. Treat this as your own home. This has always been my home." Li Zefeng sounded sincere, but his words were full of sarcasm, as if to say that you know how happy I am after spending these 8 years in prison, and only those who have wronged you know how wronged you are. Li Zefeng's smug face aroused the anger that had been hidden in my heart for many years, and I was about to fight back when a girl came down from upstairs asking, "Are there guests at my sister-in-law's house?" When I saw the girl in a princess dress, I understood why Liu Ruyan didn't let me go home. She was only worried that I, a prisoner, would stress the victim, and by Qianqian's expression when she came down it was still calm, but Li Zefeng on the side desperately winked at the latter, who hurriedly shouted, "No, don't want brother to save me." Li Zefeng immediately ran to hug her. "It's okay. It's okay, brother is here." Liu Ruyan also went to comfort her. Bai Qianqian glared at me angrily. "I said I would pick you up, but you insisted on coming by yourself. Look how scared Qianqian was. You apologized to me immediately and get out." Hearing this, I could no longer suppress the anger in my heart. It was obviously Li Zefeng and his sister who conspired to frame me and put me in jail, making me suffer humiliation and torture, and now they want me to apologize to them. "It's impossible." I said this with categorical determination. "What did you say I was framed by them in the first place? Why should I apologize?" Li Zefeng immediately hit his hand, pinched the flesh on by Qianqian's back, and made the little girl my mother's tears were pinched out. "No, brother Chenlin, I know I was wrong. I will make sure my brother doesn't compete with you for my sister. Please don't." Li Zefeng also cooperated and added fuel to the fire. "Brother Chen, please consider it as a beg of mine. If you have any resentment in your heart, just come to me. Let Qianqian go. She is just a child." Liu Ruyan gritted her teeth. "Chenlin, I warned you yesterday. If you keep pretending, I will send you back to prison." Apologize to Qianqian immediately. "What I didn't do, I didn't do. I will never apologize to them." I stared at Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan doesn't count. The time I spent in prison from the time we met to the time we fell in love has been 5 years, a full 5 years. Don't you have the slightest trust in me that I can do that kind of thing? Are you a person who loves you? Liu Ruyan shouted loudly. "You dare to do that to Qianqian, what else can't you do?" My eyes froze and my last hope for her was completely wiped out. I took out the divorce agreement from my pocket tremblingly. "Liu Ruyan, let's get a divorce." Liu Ruyan looked at the divorce agreement in front of her, stunned for a while, but Li Zefeng was ecstatic and continued to hint to his sister to cry harder. Soon the stunned look on Liu Ruyan's face disappeared, replaced by anger that was about to overflow. "You came here today for this. You did that kind of evil thing. I haven't even mentioned divorce. You dare to mention it to me." He immediately called 4 bodyguards to instruct them, rushed up just like the wedding scene that year, and beat me like a dog. I was pressed to the ground and spent 8 years in jail. "You have really grown wings. You dare to threaten me with divorce. Even if we divorce, you have to apologize to Qianqian." I was a little breathless. "You are dreaming. I would never apologize to these 2 beasts even if I die." Ruyan slapped me angrily. "That's enough, Chenlin. How have you become like this now? You are completely different from the kind-hearted Chenlin before. I am so disappointed. I have always been the same as before. I have not changed, but you changed the moment Li Zefeng came back." I kept shouting in my heart, but the reality is that I have long been numb and don't want to explain anything. Li Zefeng pretended to be very aggrieved. While comforting his sister, he urged Liu Ruyan to calm down, but I could clearly see that his eyes were full of pride. "Brother Chen, why don't you apologize to my sister? She has suffered for so many years. Can you bear to let her continue like this?" I angrily cursed at Li Zefeng. Liu Ruyan slapped me in the face again, then dragged me out of the house, pushed me into his coupe, stepped on the accelerator and drove away. The car sped on the road. He clenched the divorce agreement, and the anger in his eyes was about to burst out. "For the last time, Chenlin, I will give you one last chance. Today is Qianqian's birthday. I will take you to the place where I bullied Qianqian to sing. If you can't get her forgiveness, I will send you back immediately." The car quickly drove to the outskirts of the city. According to the address given that year, Liu Ruyan drove me around the area of several kilometers, but did not find it. The abandoned factory seemed to have disappeared out of thin air. So, he called Bai Qianqian for confirmation through video, and asked local passersby. After listening to Liu Ruyan's description, the old man looked at him with a helpless look and asked, "What are you talking about, girl? There is no abandoned factory here." Liu Ruyan was surprised and asked, "Grandpa, are you sure there is no abandoned factory here?" "There really is no abandoned factory. I have lived here for more than 40 years and have never heard of any factory. How could there be no factory here?" Liu Ruyan stood there blankly, looking at me without saying a word. He should have discovered that something was wrong at this time. At this moment, Bai Qianqian got through the video call. She asked with a smile, "Sister-in-law, where have you been? I only need you for my birthday party. Come quickly." Liu Ruyan took a deep breath and tried to keep her tone calm. "Qianqian, you said you remembered it very clearly. The place where you were bullied by Chenlin was in an abandoned factory outside the eastern suburbs." "Yes, sister-in-law, what's the matter?" "It's nothing. I just want to confirm the detailed address. It's next to National Highway 135. I remember there is a very tall ginkgo tree there." Liu Ruyan looked up subconsciously. The ginkgo tree that Bai Qianqian mentioned was just not far away. It seemed so out of place in the bushes within a radius of several kilometers. Liu Ruyan clenched the phone and asked in a low voice, "Are you sure?" In the video, Bai Qianqian's eyes were panicked and dodged. Then he pretended to be about to cry. "Sister-in-law, can you please stop asking? I really don't want to think about that thing again." Liu Ruyan comforted him a few words and then hung up the video. He still didn't give up and confirmed with the old man again. Grandpa, there is really no abandoned factory nearby. Can you please tell me the truth? This matter is really important to me. The old man frowned and cursed. No, there is no. Why would I lie to you? If you don't believe it, go find it yourself. The neurotic old man walked away cursing. Liu Ruyan hesitated and asked many passersby, but got the same answer from them all. This place belongs to the rural area of the eastern suburbs. The city has not yet been planned here. Due to the inconvenience of transportation, it is impossible for a factory to invest here. Liu Ruyan was like a deflated ball, standing there sluggishly, not to mention looking at me. She didn't even have the courage to look back. I didn't disturb her, just quietly looked at her trembling back. Not long after, Liu Ruyan covered her eyes and squatted down, her voice trembling with her body, crying, how could there be no factory here at all? Then all these years it was all my fault. After 8 years, he finally discovered the truth of the matter. The place described by Li Zifeng and by Qianqian as being violated did not exist at all. They were lying. Liu Ruyan walked up to me with tears still in her eyes, as well as more guilt and regret, and finally said the words I had been waiting for 8 years. I'm sorry, husband, I wronged you, let's make peace, he said and reached out to pull me, but I slapped him away. I looked at the woman in front of me with resentment and sadness. This female CEO, who was a big shot in the business world, showed a helpless expression for the first time in her life. She opened her mouth several times to say something, and finally could only lower her voice and smoke. I'm really sorry, husband, I misunderstood you, I really know I was wrong, will you come home with me? I opened my mouth to speak, but the pain in my chest strangled my throat. It was the despair and grievance that had been accumulated for 2,924 days, which turned into blood and sprayed violently on Liu Ruyan's face. Chanlin, don't scare me. Someone come quickly. Someone come to save me, husband. The feeling of exhaustion all over my body made it impossible for me to stay awake until the last second when I lost consciousness. Seeing Liu Ruyan's panicked expression again, for a moment it seemed as if I had returned to the years when we were passionately in love. In order to pick wildflowers for Liu Ruyan, I slipped and fell off a 10-meter high cliff. When I finally lost consciousness at that time, Liu Ruyan had the same expression. Things are similar, but people are different. When I opened my eyes again, I was already lying in the hospital. The strong smell of disinfectant in the air made me feel a little uncomfortable. After opening my eyes, I immediately heard a familiar voice beside me. Doctor, my husband is awake. Please help me again, no matter how much it costs. I turned around and found that it was my wife Liu Ruyan. Her eyes were red, as if she had cried a lot. She carefully grabbed my sleeve, as if she was grabbing a piece of fragile glass, and said to me, I can only say sorry. I'm sorry, husband. I'm sorry to you. You must have suffered a lot of injustices over the years. It's all my fault. I have sent people to investigate. It happened that someone was taking pictures on the roadside 8 years ago, and captured the scene of Li Zifeng handing Bai Qianqian to you. It was not you who deceived Bai Qianqian away. This matter was a lie that could not withstand scrutiny from beginning to end. But even if it could not withstand scrutiny, Liu Ruyan was unwilling to really understand the truth of the matter at that time. Otherwise, why did she find this woman 8 years later? During the 8 years in prison, I imagined countless times how I would complain to him, and tell him about my years of grievances on the day when the truth would come out. I even had to scold him. But after he really knew the truth, I couldn't muster any interest. I was numb. The heart that loved him deeply had been crushed by his own hands. I pulled his hands away, his face calm just like me. When I was in prison, being whipped by the people arranged by Li Zifeng, forced to drink water in the toilet, and being stepped on like a dog, the first thing I said was sorry. Liu Ruyan's face turned pale, and she opened her mouth several times, but couldn't utter a complete sentence. It was not until the doctor came to examine me, and gave me medical advice that the patient had previously suffered major physical trauma, and had a heart disease that had been squeezed for many years, that he had to rest for a long time before he could fully recover. Only then did Liu Ruyan utter a thank you. After the doctor left, the ward fell silent again. I lay in bed unable to move. I wanted to talk, but Liu Ruyan sat in a chair until the evening. Her cell phone rang. It was Bai Qianqian calling. I subconsciously turned my head and saw my wife's angry expression. She clenched the phone while gritting her teeth, but as if she had thought of something, her face became embarrassed and she was silent for a long time. When the call was finally connected, she changed her face again. What's wrong, Qianqian? Sister-in-law's birthday party has already started. Why haven't you come back yet? Qianqian misses you. An unusually chaotic sound came from the receiver of the cell phone. I could tell how much fun they were having at this time. The two people who framed me were happily holding a birthday party in my former home. After knowing the truth, Liu Ruyan still greeted me with a smile. She only declined on the grounds of being busy at work and hung up the phone. After saying this, he explained to me in a panic, Hubby, don't worry, I will definitely seek justice for you. But now you have to stop calling me husband. Sign the divorce agreement quickly, I'm tired. Liu Ruyan clenched her fists. Don't say that, okay? I know the truth now. It was wrong of me to doubt you before. I swear that no matter what I do in the future, I will believe in you. Before Liu Ruyan finished speaking, I interrupted him. Didn't you hold a wedding with Li Zifeng behind my back? Shouldn't divorcing me be the way to fulfill your wishes? Liu Ruyan was stunned and her face became extremely flustered. How could you know? It's all on the news, how could I not know? I looked at Liu Ruyan coldly. She hesitated for a long time before answering. I have never thought about divorcing you. I haven't, even if I misunderstood you before. I just wanted to wait for you to reform yourself. After you admit your mistakes, we can continue to be together. That wedding was only held because Zifeng suffered from depression and wanted to commit suicide. I held it to help him fulfill his wish. This also explains why Liu Ruyan forced a smile to Bai Chanqian after knowing the truth, and did not expose them directly. Li Zifeng suffered from depression and wanted to commit suicide. He didn't want his lover to die like this. I looked at Liu Ruyan's hesitant and painful expression and found it a little funny. He didn't like his lover to die of depression, which would make me tortured and humiliated to the point of death. Every day I was in prison I was wandering between life and death, but he could live at home and enjoy Liu Ruyan's ridiculous guilt, hold the wedding of the century, let the whole world know that he is the husband of the daughter of the Liu family. I smiled. Liu Ruyan, do you think he lied about his sister in order to drive me away? Is it possible the depression he mentioned was also for marrying you? It's not a lie. Zifeng is not that kind of person. He subconsciously opened his mouth to refute after seeing my half-smile. He swallowed it back. No, it's impossible. He seemed to be explaining to himself, but he couldn't convince himself. He suddenly stood up and left his seat. I will ask someone to investigate now. Husband, wait for me. I will be back soon. When Liu Ruyan staggered out of the ward, I pulled out all the needles in my body, limped out of the ward, and waited in the prison over the years. I have been waiting for him day and night, waiting for him to find out the truth, waiting for him to forgive me. But what did I get in return? I was hurt again and again. In fact, after I was released from prison, I had completely given up when I saw him for the first time. If he really cared about me that much, how could he have ignored me for 8 years? Now what reason do I have to wait for him? What else does he have to make me wait for him? I staggered out of the ward, walked out of the hospital, and walked aimlessly on the street. I had no money, no so-called home, and no idea where to go. I knew that only after I left Liu Ruyan and left him, the terrible memories of prison would dissipate, and I would be able to breathe a little. I don't know how long I walked and my head was dizzy. The feeling did not diminish, and he fainted on the street again. I still heard the familiar call of Chun Lin around me. It was Liu Ruyan who found me and sent me back to the hospital. She threw herself on the bed and kept crying, begging me not to leave. I really knew I was wrong. Hubby, why did you leave me? Can you let me make it up to you? I beg you. His sad and crying appearance seemed to gradually overlap with the figure in my memory, but even for the Liu Ruyan in my memory, I don't have any feelings for her now. You are right, Liu Ruyan, I have indeed changed, but you haven't changed. You are still the Chun Lin who loved me back then. Please forgive me. I love you and I want to be with you forever. I slapped his hand away again. I have changed. I only have you now. Disappointment. This word seemed to have pierced the most vulnerable part of Liu Ruyan's heart. Her eyes suddenly became red and swollen, and she was speechless. At this time the bodyguard outside the door ran in and said with a complicated look, Mr. Liu, we have checked. Mr. Li Zifeng's depression is indeed fake. The doctor who wrote the prescription for him charged him 30,000 yuan. What? Liu Ruyan's whole body began to tremble violently again, and she could no longer make any sound. She looked at me in a daze and suddenly she seemed to be crazy. She kept slapping her face with her hands, one slap after another, and the bodyguards beside her couldn't stop her. Mr. Chun Lin, please, only you can stop Mr. Liu, please. There was still no fluctuation in my heart, and I said to myself, you let me stop him, but when you broke my legs with a stick and whipped my face with a hemp rope, who stood up to stop it? Liu Ruyan's body twitched again, and the beating stopped. She was crying and wanted to smash her head on the sharp corner of the table. In the end, 2 bodyguards barely held her back. Liu Ruyan's whole spirit seemed to collapse at the moment she learned the truth. She kept saying sorry, sorry, sorry. The bodyguard looked uncomfortable, but still looked at me pleadingly. I smiled and said, Liu Ruyan, if you want me to forgive you, you can too. The woman's eyes were stunned, and there was more hope in them. I can agree to anything you want me to do, as long as you can forgive me and sign the divorce papers. What? The warm expectation that had just flashed in Liu Ruyan's eyes was gone again. As long as you sign the divorce papers, I can forgive you. If you don't sign, I will find another way to divorce you, and then I will hate you all my life. Liu Ruyan's brain seemed to have frozen. She said no and no at the same time. Looking at my cold eyes, she finally knelt on the ground and cried helplessly. Chun Lin, are you really unwilling to give me a chance? I want to make it up to you, but you don't even want to give me this chance? I looked at him coldly and asked, do you still remember what you said when you asked me to date you? Liu Ruyan's crying stopped abruptly, and the whole ward suddenly fell into a deathly silence. What we said when we were in love, he took the initiative to hold my hand, smiled in the moonlight and said, starting today we are going to be a pair of blind dates and lovers. Lovers, no matter what happens in the future you must trust each other, okay? Liu Ruyan finally left the ward, covering her tears, and ran out stumbling, as if she was running away from her former self. 3 days later I saw the news on TV. The daughter of the Liu family confessed in front of the screen that her marriage with Li Zifeng was all a lie. It was his momentary negligence that led him to be deceived. The person he really loved was a man named Chun Lin. He hoped that I could give him another chance, a chance to make up for his mistakes. At the live broadcast, Li Zifeng rushed towards Liu Ruyan like a madman, but was held down by the bodyguard and kept muttering, you clearly said you would give me a surprise, you lied to me, you lied to me. In front of the camera, Liu Ruyan called the police with an angry look on her face. He said, and took out piece of evidence after piece of evidence. Li Zifeng stole commercial secrets from Liu's group, infringed on the interests of others, endangered social order, deceived and falsely accused others, and even bribed prisoners in prison. Evidence, I obviously did nothing wrong. You said before that you loved me, how could you do this to me? Could it be that the beast said something to you? Chun Lin, you bastard, slap him in front of the camera, beat the man black and blue, admitted his mistake, and personally took the crazy Li Zifeng to the police car. What awaits him is a lifetime in prison. After the news ended, he sent me a message and asked me to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. When the staff asked for the last time whether we were sure we wanted to divorce, Liu Ruyan looked at me eagerly again. He had tried his best to make up for all the mistakes other than himself, wanting me to see his sincerity, but my burning heart had already turned numb and cold. I was sure that I shattered his last fantasy expressionlessly. I saw that he still wanted to keep me, but I didn't give him a chance at all. After stamping, I picked up the divorce certificate and walked out of the door without looking back. I could hear the sound of Liu Ruyan smoking circling behind me, and I walked forward step by step on the road to the outside with determination. I put everything about Liu Ruyan behind me. She chose to let go. I certainly can't stick to the past. I want to find my own way again and walk towards my own way. The whole text is over.